All right, English 12 for Wednesday, April 15th. So our previous assignment was to read chapters 3 and 4. Hopefully they were short. And then you had a couple of responses to type up. So my first question was, according to Janie, how has Logan Killick's been a good husband? And I asked you just to find a quote. Okay, so it's right there about 3/4 of the way into the chapter where we find out that, he provides her with water, she has a place to stay, they have plenty of food, he doesn't hit her, he doesn't treat her bad, but he's, quite a bit older and, she's young and pretty and probably has a lot more, energy than he does. And that's kind of what's happening in chapter 4 is we see him take off to go get another mule, a second mule for the farm. And we have to assume that he's probably going to want Janie to use that. So he's going to put her to work. She's no longer just going to be in the house. Essentially she's married her way into, this sharecropping family, which is really not all that different from slavery in the first place. Okay, so that is the kind of thing that you should have responded to for the second question. Predict what Jamie's life would have probably been like if she would have stayed with him. So we can imagine her life probably would have been boring and lots of hard work and, not a lot of friends because they're kind of isolated. So probably not great. So we probably don't blame her for running away, okay, with Jody. John, a.k.a. Jody Starks, all right? All right, so our focus for this reading is just going to be chapter 5 only because it's kind of long. Tomorrow, I can tell you, you're only going to have to read chapter 6, okay, because it's kind of long as well. So I'm going to start making these assignments after talking with Mr. Edwards yesterday in the English department. Our assignments are going to get a heck of a lot easier, okay? I'll just give you a reading assignment and 1 or 2 things to respond to or try to give you some options. So that's what I've done here. All right, so the focus for this reading, and this is up to you, this is an option, this is option number 1, symbols, okay? So Jody buys a big chunk of land in this place kind of in the woods in Florida. Eventually it'll become Eatonville, or that's kind of what they already call it. They have a couple different names for it. So what do you think the land he bought, the store he built, the street lamps he put in, the barbecue fest he kind of paid for, half of it, and him wanting to be mayor, what does that represent kind of on a maybe larger scale for the black community? Okay, again, we're about 30 years after slavery, okay, 30 to 50 years, I don't really know. Okay, again, she never gives us a date anywhere in the book, so it's probably somewhere, the 1890s to 1910. So just think about that, if you're a history buff or something. Okay, what do you think all those little things stand for? Just do your best, tell me what you think, okay? Your second option, again, just based on chapter 5, how is Jody Starks kind of similar to the plantation and or slave owners in the past? Okay, I mean, he comes in here looking to improve himself, but at what cost? Okay, so think about that as you're reading, what chapter 5 tells us about how Jody treats the people in the little village or town or whatever you want to call it. Okay, and then your last option, again, you're just choosing one of these. Okay, 2 or 3 sentences, 3 or 4 sentences, that's plenty. All right, so given how we see how Janie is living, is her life better, worse, or the same than with Logan Killick's? Okay, so this is kind of a nuanced question, so think about that. There's a little bit of hints they give you in the chapter to kind of lead you toward one way of thinking, but I'm going to leave that up to you. All right, there's different ways to argue. There is no right or wrong answer. Okay, so just find some evidence and explain why you think that way. All right? Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow.